Love bright ideas. Love making it your own. Love your kitchen. Home-based sponsors Food on 4.
Delicious food is surely one of the great joys of life. There is no point in putting food on a plate that can't be eaten with pleasure. But what turns good food into wonderful food? I believe it's all about care and attention to detail. Chuffed to bits with this. Cooking is my life. I was founding head chef at Pemberton in London and also an Egon Roney inspector. And I've written several best-selling cookbooks. Oh, Lordy, that's good. And now in this series, I'm going to show you how to cook extraordinary food at home.
That is very nice.
I'll be visiting some of Britain's best restaurants, from the River Cafe to the Walnut Tree, the Anchor and Hope to Fino, to be inspired, and of course, to talk food.
Artichokes. You know, it's one of my favourite things to eat here.
You'll find it hard to find many people who care as deeply about food as Simon does.
I love discussing recipes with other cooks, experiment with them, and find out how their dishes have developed. I'm here to learn.
That's the first time you've ever said that to me.
Sultanas or raisins sometimes?
I've never known anyone more able to dissect a dish and improve on it.
Some of the dishes I'll be cooking I've slaved over for decades to get just right.
Worth waiting for, that.
For others, I'll be picking up tips from these chefs who cook them as their speciality.
Oh, you've got parmesan on the inside as well.
Parmesan on the
Never knew
inside.
that.
With this knowledge and experience, I want to inspire you to cook delicious food and to show you how to put together exceptional menus for a variety of occasions.
Delicious.
And today, I'm cooking a classic lunch. I'm celebrating some of my all-time favourite dishes in a 5-course menu for 4. These are classic dishes that have stood the test of time, like old friends. I want you to take them to your heart and put them in the spotlight by showing you how to cook them with love. Made with care, I'm going to reveal how spectacularly good they can be. Opening with artichoke vinaigrette, that French bistro staple, always served whole in all its eccentric glory.
All the flavour that you've been waiting for.
And to follow, the prawn cocktail, which for me has never gone out of fashion.
Dinky or what?
For the main course, a personal favourite. Roast leg of lamb in a Provençal style and served with a potato gratin. Just perfect together.
Great plate of food.
And for pudding, a taste of childhood. Sherry trifle.
What a picture.
Leave those drizzles and foams behind. There's a reason these dishes have been around for so long. So prepare to embrace them. First, let's get lunch going with a classic cocktail, the gin martini. Famous since the early 1900s, it was the drink of choice of Hollywood film stars, and for me, it's retained an air of glamour ever since.
It's a grown-up drink, like many proper cocktails are. It's strong, it's pretty well all gin. Lots of ice.
The ice just helps loosen the gin a little. And one crucial tip is to wash it. Ice can take on fugitive flavours from the freezer, so give it a good rinse.
I love this drink. It is such an invigorating drink. OK, ice there.
Now add 50 ml of dry vermouth.
It's sort of that, and about that.
The vermouth for me is essential. A splash of this fruity fortified wine takes the edge off the gin. Give it a good stir.
I use a chopstick.
And I have the glasses chilling in the freezer.
Now, this needs to be done quite quickly, this part, because I want those glasses to stay frosted.
So, 300 ml of cold gin goes in with the vermouth. The ratio of gin to vermouth is about 6:1.
Now, stir.
This is the proper way to make a martini. Don't fall for the cowboy cocktail using frozen neat gin.
So, get those right to the top.
Finally, I need a zest of citrus to add zing.
There is a little bar in Milan called Cova. There, they spritz it over the drink and then chuck it out. I'll show you. Done. Out. And it's a pure, perfect little drink. Salute.
A timeless classic, but be wary of these on an empty stomach, so I want something simply delicious to eat with them. In Italian bars, they often serve dainty sandwiches as a sophisticated snack, so I'm going to draw on that inspiration here and now. This is really simple and quick, and I find it easier to butter the loaf of bread and then cut a thin slice.
This bread I'm using, by the way, is a rich French sandwich loaf. It works well with these sandwiches. A slice of salami.
I've chosen an Italian salami scented with fennel, a finocchione, as I think the taste paired with the gin martini is delightful.
Okay, my favourite bit, as always with these sort of things, making them lovely. So, there we have it. Little fennel salami sandwiches, tiny and delicate and dainty, and perfect with a stiff martini. Magical. Yum, yum.
By now, your guests will certainly be in the spirit of things, and what is to follow will not disappoint. My much-loved artichoke vinaigrette. For some, it will be a nostalgic treat. For others, a new discovery. But there's no denying that tackling an artichoke is both fun and a pleasure. I'm surprised this ancient vegetable, as itself, doesn't appear more on restaurant menus. But there is one establishment in West London that serves it throughout the season. I've known chef Tom Pemberton since he opened Hereford Road several years ago. Hidden amongst the back streets of Notting Hill, Tom proudly serves his original British food, such as ox heart with salsify, devilled lamb kidneys and mashed potato, or rice pudding with jam. But I'm here today to see how he cooks his summery favourite, a globe artichoke with a vinaigrette dressing.
So many people walk past the window and see the artichoke, and they come in and they say, wow, I haven't had an artichoke in 2 years, and they come in and have one. And that kind of artichoke vinaigrette is kind of a classic dish that still really excites people. And, you know, it kind of strikes a chord with them.
Hi, Tom.
Simon, hi.
How are you?
Very well, and you?
Lovely to see you.
Yeah, you too.
What have we got here? Oh,
Some lovely globe artichokes. I actually have very fond memories of, as a quite a small child, going to a friend's house in the late 70s.
yeah.
And his mum cooking us 2 globe artichokes, which seemed very sophisticated at the time.
It's a very exciting thing to see, and it's slightly terrifying all at the same time.
It is. It's got that kind of
What do I do with it?
prehistoric or reptilian kind of quality to it.
And really a thistle.
And it is a thistle, exactly.
So how are you going to cook them?
I'm going to cook them in a quick vegetable stock.
Before he cooks his artichokes, Tom uses white wine, vegetables and herbs to flavour the cooking water. But one thing I haven't seen before is the addition of olive oil.
And the olive oil gives them... You get a bit of the taste of the olive oil, but you also get a nice kind of gloss on them. Immerse those globe artichokes in the water
How long will you cook those for?
for about 20 minutes. Because the thing about... This is one of the key things about doing globe artichoke, is not to undercook it, not to overcook it. There are simple rules. If you go about 3 leaves down on the artichoke and you pull gently at the
It'll come
3rd
free.
leaf down, it should come free. That's one way of telling.
To serve with the artichoke, Tom makes a thick mustardy vinaigrette.
That looks brilliant. Aha!
Here's your artichoke, Sam.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful. Thank you very much indeed. Looks great. I'm going to take these ones off the bottom. That's perfect. It's fun to eat, and it's nice to have food that is fun to eat occasionally. I'm so thrilled to be having this as first course in my classic menu. That oil is a really good tip, and I'm going to use that from now on.
Coming up, having now seen Tom cook his artichoke, I get thorough with the thistle too and show you step by step how I deal with mine. There we are. Now look, that's what that's done. If you just slice it off, all those will stay inside the vegetable. And I give you the best prawn cocktail, a favourite the world over.
One of our national treasures of a dish.
I'm showing you my classic lunch menu, celebrating dishes we have all grown up with and loved. We began with the spirited gin martini and little fennel salami sandwiches. And now it's on to the first course, artichoke vinaigrette. I've seen how Chef Tom Pemberton cooks his.
Perfect.
Now for my take on it. The cooking itself is simple. It's all about the preparation. I'll show you how a bit of time and care will pay off handsomely in the eating.
Big pan for big vegetable.
And this is
A big vegetable. Globe artichokes. It's big in flavour, big in beauty, and I love them.
the globe artichoke is grown all over Europe. It's actually a huge thistle with a stalk that can grow up to 2 meters high. And on the top sits this exciting edible bud.
Now, I'm going to put some flavourings in here. We need some salt. 3 big sprinkles.
And I'm going to do Tom's thing by adding olive oil to the water.
It gives a lovely shine to the vegetable once it's cooked.
Finally, a glug of white wine vinegar, a couple of bay leaves, and a small glass of white wine. What I'm making here is a courbouillon. These flavours will subtly infuse the artichokes as they cook.
Lid on, let it come up to the boil. So, to the artichoke. I like to trim up these a little more than usual. It's nothing to do with the cooking, it's for the look of the thing.
First, cut off the top, mainly for neatness. Then you need to remove the stalk.
Best way to do this is just snap it off. There we are. Just takes a little bit of effort, as you can see. That's what that's done. If you just slice it off, all those will stay inside the vegetable.
Finally, level off the base.
I want them to sit pretty. What I also do is to neaten up the leaves. I like taking the trouble. When I was still cooking in the kitchens of Pemberton, it was always what we call the mise en place that gave me the greatest pleasure, filleting fish or preparing vegetables.
Hidden underneath all these pretty leaves is the most cherished part of the artichoke, the heart. But you'll have to wait and see.
I think that's just dandy. I think it's worth doing. I think you should too.
Once all the artichokes are prepared, I can add them to the courbouillon.
It's starting to smell very nice, simple as it is.
They'll need to simmer for 30 to 45 minutes, depending on their size.
About halfway through, I'll turn them over a little while. So, on to the vinaigrette. I'll leave my little whizzer. What I want here is a thick dressing, emulsified dressing. I want it to attach itself easily when you're dipping your artichoke leaves into it. So, Dijon mustard, never the seedy one. A good tablespoon. Touch of vinegar, about half a tablespoon. I always have used red wine vinegar. It just has that deeper flavour.
Next, a touch of salt, some white pepper, and a small clove of garlic. Add a dash of warm water and blend. Now add 125 ml of sunflower oil and 75 ml of olive oil. Introduce them gradually, whizzing after each glug.
When it gets thick, that's the time to add a touch more water.
Using warm water rather than cold helps the dressing emulsify.
The taste? It's sharp, it's mustardy, but it's not sharp. It's not too olive oily, and it partners the artichoke brilliantly. I love it. If, when it has sat around for a bit, and you have another taste of it, and you think, I want to add a little more salt or a little more vinegar or mustard, you can. You just whisk it in. I'm just going to have a quick check on the artichokes. They've had about 30 minutes. At the third leaf down, that's what Tom says. And just have a little tug at it. And when they're cooked, it should come free quite easily, which this isn't. So they're definitely going to need a further 15 minutes.
After that, be sure to repeat the same leaf-pulling test.
There we are. Let's have a little. Perfect.
Drain upside down in a colander and let them cool for 20 minutes.
Let excess juices come out. Very, very happy. And you see that lovely oily sheen on them, which is what I wanted. Really pleased about that. Some of the nicest artichokes I think I've ever cooked. I can't wait to eat these. Let's put one on a plate. A thing of beauty.
Serve the creamy vinaigrette on the side and dip in the bottom of each leaf for a little mouthful of heaven. You can only eat the fleshy part at the base of the leaf, so just chew it off with your teeth and discard the rest.
All the flavour that you've been waiting for. Experience gets better and better because you're going towards the heart.
Tease out the fibrous choke that protects the heart. It is inedible. It's not called the choke for nothing.
There we have beautiful heart. Yummy, yummy. Oh, and to think I'm eating a thistle. But it's the best thistle in the world.
For the next course, prawn cocktail. It has been everyone's favourite for as long as I can remember. And it's not surprising it's delicious. Crunchy lettuce, sweet prawns, and my smashing little piquant dressing.
A prawn cocktail truly is one of my favourite things. I've loved it ever since I can remember, since about 6 years old, maybe.
Made well, this classic is still top of the pops for me. You need the best ingredients and a lot of attention to detail. You need a thick mayonnaise to make a proper cocktail sauce, so earning this dish its rightful place on my classic lunch menu.
In terms of one of our national treasures of a dish, a prawn cocktail is a lovely thing when carefully made.
Firstly, the mayonnaise, and only homemade will do here. So I need 2 egg yolks, a sprinkling of salt, white pepper, and a teaspoon of Dijon mustard.
Don't use anything but a good, smooth Dijon mustard. Whisk on. Now, some plain sunflower oil. We're going to add a little bit of olive oil later, but I think a mayonnaise made totally with olive oil is just too strong. It's certainly too strong for this dish.
Add 300 ml of the neutral oil very slowly, beating all the time. Once the mixture has thickened, add some lemon juice and incorporate some fruity olive oil to taste.
Great cookery writer Elizabeth David described a good mayonnaise as ointment-like. And in a way, that's what it is. And it's thick enough that you can do that with it. It's delicious on the tongue. It's soothing.
I need about 3 tablespoons to begin making what is, essentially, a classic Marie Rose.
And now let's make the sauce. Ketchup. This is the one flavour which this sauce can't be without. And you need a couple of dollops. Just a tiniest touch of cognac. A little bit of Tabasco for heat. Tiniest bit more ketchup. Right, we're there.
Now for the main ingredient, the prawns.
These are prawns that have been defrosted and frozen. I don't like using ready-peeled prawns. They have a coating on them, they go a bit flabby, they go a bit cotton woolly. But these are nice. What I tend to do is just nip the head off and then take away the first bit and then just squeeze the tail and they pop out. It's worth doing this. It doesn't take long and you know, you'll get a better dish because of it.
For this iconic little number, we need to serve it in the correct way. So put some shredded lettuce in the bottom of a glass, add my personal little touch of cucumber and spring onion, then add a generous spoonful of velvety smooth Marie Rose sauce.
The classic thing is, of course, you see the lettuce, the prawns, the sauce. And finally, more sauce. And just give them a little tap down.
And to give the prawn cocktail the traditional finishing touches, a shake of paprika, some decorative lemon wedges,
So just slide them down the edge.
and who wouldn't want brown bread and butter? Lovely.
Dinky or what?
Now that is a dish essential to this menu. Recipes may come and go, but there are those that stand the test of time, and this is without doubt one of them. You can add any of these recipes to your online scrapbook at channel4.com/Simon Hopkinson. Next, for the main course, roast lamb. And I'm going to cook it with an intriguing and surprising ingredient.
That is a pretty perfect meal. I know it's meat and potatoes, but it is very fine and sophisticated meat and potatoes.
And to achieve potato perfection, I travelled deep into the Welsh countryside to show off the talents of one of Britain's top chefs.
People say how very simple the food is. Well, it takes 8 of us 12 or 14 hours a day to make it that simple.
I'm very pleased to announce that some of my best beloved dishes are as popular as ever. They've always been in the limelight for me, and this menu will show you why. So far, I've kicked off this classic lunch with a stiff gin martini, a delicious artichoke vinaigrette, and the undeniably special prawn cocktail. Now for the main course, roast leg of lamb. And although it's a time-honoured British favourite, I'm going to demonstrate a Provençal technique which uses that surprising pairing of anchovies with lamb, seasoning the meat beautifully. I'm planning to serve it with a gorgeously rich potato gratin, the French tradition of baking potatoes in plenty of cream. Making it just right is every bit as important as the roast, so I'm heading to a very special restaurant to learn all about it. Deep in the heart of the Welsh countryside lies this remote inn of gastronomy, the Walnut Tree. It may be chilly outside, but inside, a glorious menu awaits. This award-winning restaurant is run by my dear friend and great chef, Shaun Hill.
OK, some mash, one dory, one liver.
He is a man who shares the same ethos as me when it comes to honest, tasty food, without fussy presentation and silly squiggles.
The bit that I hope we have in common is the integrity of the ingredients and the lack of peripheral stuff. No foams, no colours, no squiggles, no squeegee bottles with bits on the plate, because it detracts from the actual joy of the dish. People say how very simple the food is. Well, I tell you, it takes 8 of us 12 or 14 hours a day to make it that simple.
Don't cut your finger off.
No, chef.
And I love what he produces from the humble potato. For example, John Dory is served on potato rasam, an aromatic Indian soup with chili and tamarind. Also on offer is lemon sole with Janssen's Temptation, a Scandinavian potato dish of julienne potatoes cooked with Swedish anchovies and cream. But it's Shaun's gratin de jabron that's inspired me to make the journey here. It's a take on a classic dauphinois and will be a great partner to my roast lamb. So I can't wait to find out how he does it.
Good morning. We love potatoes. And of course, your supreme classic, which you've been doing for how long?
Look, it's mid-70s now.
The gratin de jabron.
It is. It's not my dish originally. It's a lovely dish. It's my favourite of all that type of gratin dauphinoise jobs, because you can actually taste the potato as well.
Shaun's tried and tested method is to steam the potatoes in their skins, which helps retain the flavour.
And the difference from the one everybody knows, the gratin dauphinois, is that where the potatoes are raw, these are cooked. And it actually really tastes of potato rather than just cream and garlic.
I much prefer it.
This, for me, is why the gratin de jabron is on my menu. The dish will really complement the roast lamb. And I agree with Shaun, you can taste more of the potato.
Do we know what jabron really means?
I don't know.
No.
I don't even know what the hell
Good.
it is.
That's a good... let's leave it like that.
No wonder this dish has been a speciality of Shaun's for 40 years. It's a true classic. And now I'm going to show you how to make it. My main course, a wonderful roast leg of lamb served with the perfect gratin.
That is a pretty perfect meal. I know it's meat and potatoes, but it is very, very fine and sophisticated meat and potatoes.
So first, the gratin de jabron. Start by steaming a kilo of unpeeled Maris Piper potatoes. This method helps retain the taste and is what makes the flavour in the finished dish so delicious.
Look at them after 30 minutes. Give them a poke with a knife. Not quite cooked in the middle. Let those putter away.
Now to the lamb. I'm going to roast it, pretty straightforward, but I want to do some careful preparation to make it more than just your average roast.
First of all, we need to make little pockets in here. Just go deep down into the flesh. Move it back and forth a little.
I'm making 20 insertions, around 5 centimetres deep, all over the lamb. Then slice 3 cloves of garlic into thin strips that will fit into the holes.
Make it bigger with your finger. Just putting 1 sliver in each hole. So, to the anchovies. I'm unsure as to where the influence or the idea of roasting lamb with anchovies, garlic and rosemary came from, but it is a very good one.
Anchovies are an extraordinary ingredient. They are a great friend to any cook because they can add so much depth of flavour to a dish. The anchovy flavour softens when cooked, leaving behind its wonderful savoury quality. Every kitchen cupboard should always have several tins of anchovy to hand. They work sensationally with meat. cut the anchovies into 3 and press each piece into the holes alongside the garlic. So, to our lovely rosemary. Try and get rosemary that is soft. So push a goodly amount in, a couple of little tiny sprigs. Friends who've cooked this dish rarely fail to come back to me and say how much they've enjoyed it, which is very pleasing. Right, the lamb needs to go into a roasting tin. Pop it in. Now, we need some white wine, about half a bottle, or thereabouts. And I also have 75 grams of unsalted soft butter, which I'm going to smooth over the lamb. Just use your fingers. The amalgamation of wine and lamb juices all will mingle together to make a sort of oily, buttery, winey juice, which is very delicious. And it sounds odd with all that anchovy, but we do need a little salt. And use fine salt, because sea salt will fall off. And you need just a sprinkling. And on the other side. And not forgetting a generous grind of pepper, again on both sides. One more thing, little lemon juice. And just squeeze through your fingers to catch the pips. I'm just going to pop a few little sprigs of rosemary into the bottom of the dish so they help to flavour the gravy. There we are, ready to go in the oven. For the first 20 minutes, I want the lamb to have a good blast of heat at 220 degrees. And now let's take the potatoes from the steamer. These need a few minutes to cool before I can peel them. So, to begin preparing the gratin, crush 2 cloves of garlic and add to 150 grams of unsalted butter. While that's melting, I'm going to mix together the cream and the milk. 200 mils of milk and 300 mils of whipping cream. Please don't use double cream, as it is too rich. Give this a light whisk before returning to the butter, which by now should be nicely melted. I'm going to bake the gratin in a dish like this. Take a spoon and just put the garlic, leaving some of the butter behind. I'm spooning the garlic into the base of the dish so it permeates up through the potatoes. And the remaining butter I'm going to trickle over the top. One of the other reasons for putting all the garlic underneath, if it's on the top and we want this to become golden, bits of garlic that burn are not nice. So it's good to hide it underneath, where it will do its work with the cream underneath the potatoes. I'm just going to check the lamb. Oh. Good initial browning. And I'm going to give it a quick baste. Turn it around. It's good to move meat around occasionally in an oven because temperatures vary from front to back. The lamb is going back in the oven for a further hour or so at a reduced heat of 180 degrees. And now I'm going to peel the potatoes. They're going to be thickly sliced. And this is where it's different from a traditional gratin dauphinois, where the potatoes are very thinly sliced and put in cream raw. And this has a subtle difference in that it's very soft and they soak up the cream and the milk as they bake. And it's a slightly drier dish. They're still a little bit firm in the middle, which is how they should be. Generously seasoned with salt and pepper. And spoon over the remaining butter. So now we'll just pour over the milk and cream. So we're going to slide these in. Into the oven they go for between 30 and 40 minutes at 180 degrees. Well, the
potatoes certainly smell done. Yes, they are, and that's how they should be. Lovely golden sort of lactic crust on the top. For me, the lamb is now roasted to perfection. Deliciously golden on the outside and juicy and just pink on the inside. Cover with foil to keep warm. Then put the roasting tray onto the heat to make a simple gravy. I'm actually going to add just a smidgen more white wine. Tip and move the tray around so you get all of these lovely, slightly burnt bits, which will make the flavour of the gravy especially good. It smells heavenly. Right, I'm going to strain it into here and give it a little warm through. Let's carve. I love these crusty edges here. And now, the gratin. Cream has absorbed into the potatoes. Smells wonderful. And finally, a little bit of watercress, just to bring the two things together. And there we have it, roast leg of lamb with anchovies, rosemary, and garlic. Delicious gratin de Chabron. I've taken that age-old pairing of meat and potatoes, and by using some robust yet complementary flavours, the dish has been elevated to something extra special for this classic lunch. Coming up, and now for a real bit of wonderful luxury. Still hooked on the classics, I'm wheeling out the dessert trolley with this simply topping trifle. Just tastes gorgeous. After 4 courses of my classic lunch, I want an ultimate dessert. One which is sure to deliver a nostalgic thrill, the sherry trifle. There are certain dishes that will take you back to a happy time and place, and this delicious dessert transports me straight back to my mother's kitchen. A classic of the sweet trolley, the Great British Trifle has been in existence for around 400 years. A dessert as enduring as this deserves some special care and attention. The key is to make each layer every bit as delicious as the next. For this recipe, there are no shortcuts or half measures, and the results are just perfection. I make my own sponge, so I shall get on with it. It's a very easy sponge to do. I'm going to use 3 eggs and weigh them. And these eggs weigh 196 grams. Whatever the eggs weigh, use the same amount of the sponge ingredients. So 196 self-raising flour, 196 grams caster sugar, and 196 grams of softened butter. Do make sure it's soft. And to help it all along, a little bit of raising agent in the form of baking powder, about a teaspoon. Before mixing it all together, butter a loose-bottomed baking tin about 20 centimetres wide by 4 centimetres deep and add a disc of parchment paper. Bob's your uncle. It's there. Now beat the sponge mixture just until it falls off the whisk. Pile into the tin and place on the middle shelf of a preheated oven for 35 to 40 minutes at 180 degrees C. So, the sponge is ready. Nicely risen. Now, it is not practical just to make a very small sponge just for your trifle. So, make a double quantity, which we've done here, cut it in half, and the other one we'll freeze. Oh, lovely soaky sponge for the sherry.
For extra fruity sweetness, I'm going to add some raspberry jam.
What I like to do is to cut the sponge into small pieces so they fit in the bottom of the bowl and spread with raspberry jam. This really doesn't have to be accurate in any way. Just sort of spread it on. Push it up the sides a bit, which will help you see the layer of sponge at the bottom. And next is the sherry.
Put the bowl back on the scales and measure out about 125 mils of a medium dry sherry. I'm using my mum's favourite tipple, a Amontillado.
So just pour it all over, but don't go mad on the amount of sherry. It is a trifle, not a cocktail.
The final touch to this luscious layer is 250 grams of frozen raspberries.
So when I pour over the hot custard, it will help the raspberries to defrost and release their juice.
And this is my way of making a proper trifle custard.
I want to make a thick custard, but I only want to thicken it with just 6 egg yolks. It won't be solid in any way, but it will hold together. And I want that creamy texture going through the cream, through the custard, into the sponge. Just delicious.
Once you have 6 egg yolks, add a tablespoon of caster sugar and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then whisk together. Next, in a separate pan, warm 200 ml of double cream and 150 ml of milk.
It doesn't need to boil, but it mixes better with the egg yolks and sugar if the milk and cream are warmed through. So, straight in.
Mix the warm milk and cream in with the yolks and sugar, and then put the pan onto a low heat, stirring until it begins to thicken.
I'm going to go back with the whisk now, because if there is the slightest bit of scrambling of the egg yolk, the whisk will disperse it back into the custard.
When you see small bubbles forming and there is a slight wobble to the consistency, you know that the custard is at its optimum thickness.
Right, done. And straight over the raspberries. Really gorgeous.
Leave to cool for 10 minutes before popping in the fridge, and after 2 hours, you'll have a nicely firm custard. To top off the trifle, I want a cloud-like layer of lovely whipped cream. So, begin with 300 ml of double cream and a tablespoon of caster sugar.
And something else slightly unusual. Ice. Now, it's just a little trick. What it does, it slightly lets down the cream, making it voluminous. You want to whisk with plenty of spokes on it, and just push a couple of ice cubes into the whisk.
It is really important when whipping cream that it's cold, so as well as helping lighten the mixture, the ice keeps it beautifully cool.
As an apprentice chef, about 16 years old, and chef was a bit of a bad mood, he made me beat 6 pints of double cream with a big hand whisk, but it was very good whipped cream in the end. Electrically beaten cream just does not have the same consistency. That is how you want it. Just holding in the whisk, just dropping if you shake it. That's perfect.
Spread all over the firm custard layer, making sure you don't leave any gaps. And now it's time for the final flourish.
Now for a real bit of wonderful luxury.
My mother used to decorate her trifle with silver balls and angelica, but I love to use crystallised violets. The vivid purple, together with the pink raspberries and yellow custard. will be a feast for the eyes. What a picture. A trifle fit for a queen. Spoon through all those luscious layers, ensuring each guest has plenty. Dig down for a little more sponge, I think. Oh, lordy, that's good. The sponge is nice and soft, but not over-sogged with the sherry. It just tastes gorgeous. This is my classic trifle. And such a fitting end to this wonderful lunch. With this 5-course menu, I've demonstrated how timeless dishes will always remain favourites. Each dish is a joy to cook, but the devil is in the detail, and with extra care in preparation, I hope each will bring you much pleasure and a memorable lunch. To break the ice, a drink that is the essence of a pure cocktail, the gin martini. Then my ever-so-simple favourite, the artichoke vinaigrette, followed by the prawn cocktail. Never tire of that one. And for the main course, a time-honoured original roast lamb, given an extra dimension from anchovy, rosemary and garlic, further complemented by the rich gratin de jabron. And to round it all off, the pride of place goes to a fabulous sherry trifle. You can add any of these recipes to your own online scrapbook at channel4.com/Simon Hopkinson. Next time, a meal to really tantalise the taste buds. One of the great experiences of pleasure that I know. As I craft a menu with a touch of spice. It's a very exciting curry, this, and it's fun. And cooking should always be fun. Bringing you exciting tastes and flavours. Absolute heaven. And showing you how to cook an extraordinary meal that is pure pleasure. I love it.
And so do we, next Monday at 9. They're dead, but they just don't know it. They're also very French. New supernatural drama, The Return, started last night at 9 on 4, and the catch-up's at 4 OD. Over on 4 next, the mating season is just about to begin with Dates. First of a funny, brand new, emotional and sexy drama. And here on More 4, expect a harsh rap on the door from the Repo Man.